Hello everybody and welcome to my Friday comic book review video. Before I kick off on this largely sci-fi themed video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been subscribing to my channel of late. I've suddenly got this influx of subscribers and just want to say thank you very much. I don't normally do this, but I am coming up to my 5-year anniversary in April of being on YouTube and doing these videos, and part of me thinks it would be really nice if I could get to 1,500 subscribers by then. I'm currently on about 1,420, so I just need about 80 more of you to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I don't normally do that thing, but it would just kind of cap off a great 5 years here on YouTube. With that out the way, you're here to hear me talk about the comic books that I pulled on my Wednesday video. You saw all the titles. Now here are my thoughts and my opinions on those. As I said, this is largely a sci-fi themed week in comics for me, and that is great news because I love the sci-fi genre, second only to the fantasy kind of Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings genre. So the first half of this video I'm keeping to the non-sci-fi, and we're going to kick straight off with the final part of Fiction Squad from Boom Studios. This isn't at the bottom of the list because it wasn't any good. There really, to be honest, isn't just that much to say about it because it is what it is. It's a fun, entertaining take on a crime noir story, but in place of kind of hardened criminals and downtrodden detectives, you have in place of them kind of caricatures, over characterized versions of children's story characters and nursery rhymes, and it just adds to the fun of it all. In this issue we've got Jack the Ripper, who has been the evil mastermind behind the whole story, and his plot is revealed, and we have past enemies becoming allies. Silliness abounds in this book, and that's what I enjoy so much about this. It brings a smile to my face. I'm not saying I'm laughing out loud at the jokes in here, but they do raise some grins and some smiles. I did notice, and it's strange that I've only just noticed this in the final issue, there are some comparisons to Sergio Aragonés's work, especially on, say, like Gru. Certainly in the art style, the amount of detail that Raymond Bax puts in this book is just fantastic. There is always somewhere on the page to look at, and like I said, the detail is so great in this. So, does our main character, Detective Frankie Mac, does he win the day? Does he get a new job? And above all, does he get the girl? Well, when this comes out in trade, if you want something just to sit back and enjoy and smile and be entertained about with having to think too deeply about anything, I recommend you pick up Fiction Squad. It's been a fun title. So we move on to our Bat books. This week's Batman Eternal issue number 48. And is there really only about 5 more issues of this title to go? Because you would not know it from reading this. This feels very much like a backstep, retreading old ground as we go back to Blackgate Prison. We begin kicking off with Bard trying to convince Mayor Hayley to release Gordon, but this is an election year, and currently, despite the fact that Gordon was framed, Gordon's name is Mud in Gotham, and it won't look good for his re-election. while this is all going on, there is a riot about to be instigated by the Penguin at the behest of our mystery caller, who is going to be our mystery plotter, puppeteer. For God's sake, I'm getting to the point now where I don't actually care. Just tell us already. That all kind of leads pretty much nowhere, to the point where the last panel is Penguin with some beefed up kind of bouncers, bodyguards, facing off Gordon on his own. The other side of this story is the Bat Kids, who are really going to have to kind of show their cojones when Hush, who is now in kind of charge of the Batcave, having escaped, cuts off the bat gadgets for them. So they really only have their physical skill and experience to rely on against all those Batman's rogue villains that we saw them about to fight or were fighting in last issue. I was disappointed that we didn't see, especially Batgirl's kind of walk into, you know, the lair of Joker's daughter, and that kind of kick back to, oh my goodness, The Killing Joke, of course, sorry. I really wanted them to show more of that. I don't know if that's been in the Batgirl title. I probably wouldn't have thought so, but that was certainly a missed opportunity to bring something to this book, to make it something worth reading, because right now it's not dull, it's just not progressing fast enough or with any interest. And who haven't we mentioned really yet? Batman. Where is he apart from off stealing planes? And you know what? That was the worst kind of one-page splash that could have possibly been put down on print. The kind of jet fighter flying off to the distance with the bat signal being painted on the ground with an IOU sign on it. I missed that on my first read of this book because I kind of just glanced and thought it was an advert for another comic book, and it just went by me. And I did wonder the first time I read it, where's he suddenly got this jet plane from? Terrible, just terrible. It's Batman Eternal, there's 4 or 5 issues left to go. Of course I'm going to get them all to complete the run, and hopefully, my God, they better tell us at the end of this who the puppeteer is. Another Bat book, and this time it's Detective Comics issue number 40, and this ends our Anarchy storyline. And if you read this in trade, this would probably have been a very pleasing and satisfying storyline. If you've been reading it in singles, at least by this final issue, everything gets tied up together, and you see how all those disparate threads from the very start of it have finally all come together. Maybe that was just the impatience of me as a reader, wanting a bit more from it at the very beginning rather than it right at the very end. We get explained the Mad Hatter's involvement in all this. We have the significance of Alice, and is she dead, is she not dead? The identity of Anarchy. What else? It's pretty much kind of an action-packed race to the finish as Bullock saves the day. It's Bullock as he saves the day from the mask rioting that is going on, and stopping it before it gets too deadly, before there are unnecessary deaths. The artwork, as always, is gorgeous. It's a big plus for this book at the moment. I enjoyed it by the time this storyline ended. I know that sounds strange. It just felt very much at the start like I was too confused. The stories were too, they were going off in too far directions apart from each other. But it's detective comics. We have to become Batman ourselves and become, you know, the greatest detective and work out all the clues as we go along. Before we hit our sci-fi section of this video, we have to say goodbye to Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing issue number 40 came out this week, and did Charles Soule deliver a fitting ending for our Swampy? Well, yes and no. On the face of it, this was it was the ending of Rot World all over again, only this time it was the Green versus the Machines. And while there are some great battle scenes here where inevitably the Green wins, but due to some very big plot contrivances. I mean, Swamp Thing is in the Gobi Desert fighting against the Machines and the Grey, and to divert their attention he flies off and gets to Philadelphia bloody quick, I have to say. But then it tried to be a little bit too clever for its own good, and it kind of went all metaphysical on us. Now, that's not a bad thing per se if it wasn't for kind of 2 points. The first one is that none of this kind of metaphysical stuff has ever been even alluded to in previous issues of this series. And second, it's really been done before. You only have to look at Grant Morrison's run on Animal Thing, in particular issue 19. If you don't know about that, go out there and research it to find out. In a way to escape, Swamp Thing hides within the pages of a book. And this is where it all, as I said, gets a little metaphysical, as while he is hiding in there, he meets, is it Charles Soule, the writer? There is this narrative voice running throughout this comic. Again, is this Soule's voice? There is a point in this where the narrator says, endings, difficult. And I think it is Charles Soule's way of saying, I'm kind of sorry about this, but I've been put into a corner. I've not been able to write a proper ending to Swamp Thing due to, you know, the events that are coming. So this is what I've got to give you. And that's a shame for Charles Soule's great run. It kind of ended on just this very downbeat kind of moment where Swamp Thing is just sat in the swamp and he's reading 100 Years of Solitude. Whew, heavy. Now on to all things sci-fi, and we kick off with The Woods issue 11. And yes, I was right from the cover when I spoke on Wednesday's Pull This video. We are back paying a visit to the remaining survivors back at the school. And exactly how are they surviving? Well, they seem to be surviving on a diet of the kind of alien moth creatures that look like lobsters and apparently taste like turkey. And at the same time, they are in discussions of how to rebuild society, given that they think they are going to be stuck here well, for a long time. As they're doing this, Tsunami returns on the back of those kind of winged dragon creatures, just in time to give them a warning of the army that is approaching. We get the return of Adrian back at New Britain. But is he friend or foe? We learn a little bit more about what he's been up to, what he's trying to do, and it does seem like he wants to help. But there is obviously that kind of sinister overtone going on. He has a great deal of power and he seems to have control over these alien monsters. And there are kind of allusions to this is like a testing ground, and it has been going on for hundreds and thousands of years. It's just a great, intriguing kind of alien sci-fi kidnapping story, which I'm really lapping up. I don't know how long this is going to last, how much further James Tynion is going to go with this, but I'm certainly along for the ride. Saga issue number 26, and I'm getting the feeling now that it's beginning to take that steady climb back to the greatness that it used to be. And this is in no small part to the inclusion of new characters, new imaginative characters, especially in our kind of terrorists, resistance fighters, the Fourth Cell. Fiona Staples is now getting to kind of stretch her artistic imagination. We have this kind of fight off with Brand and that group against these female dragons, and the clever way they get out of that danger. The Stork, who died many issues ago, could potentially have some sort of family, if not a partner, as we see a male version of the Stork. And let's not forget, of course, Marco, who has decided just to, forget it all, let's take some recreational drugs. Yes, those drugs that his wife Alana had taken, which he had no end of arguments with her about. I am actually really starting to like Saga again. It kind of dipped a little, but now it's making that roller coaster ride up to the top, hopefully to more exciting times. Let's crack on with Nameless issue 2, Grant Morrison's latest horror slash sci-fi slash occult slash trippy craziness, as this issue sees our party of genius types land on the moon. And this issue is no less crazy than the previous one, though it's a different type of crazy. We don't have that kind of dreamlike states, we don't have the humanoids with fish heads. This is more the craziness of the mind, we initially see a kind of murder that has taken place on the moon, and it has been done by one of the inhabitants of this moon base, who herself has gone crazy. She is writing all this weird language on the walls, which we find out through our main character is the language of angels. An equally crazy plan is then concocted to kind of veer this asteroid off course so that it will not hit Earth. And our kind of disembodied benefactor, this Mr. Darius, who kind of flies along them all in this kind of flying TV, well, he might not exactly be on our team's side. This is a really intriguing book. It's a very exciting book. I love the artwork here by Chris Burnham. It very much suits the sci-fi style. I'm really looking forward to more of this. I have no idea if this is like a mini maxi series or if this is an ongoing. I would love it to be an ongoing, but we will see. Finishing off this week's video, don't forget there'll be my pick of the week coming straight after this, and ooh, it was a good one. We finish off this part of the sci-fi section with black science. The science-y, fictionisty one there is, as we continue hopping dimensions with the McKay family and scientists in tow. This book is very much centred around Grant McKay, an alternative version at least, and we see how he has in his dimension been tortured by these aliens, set to work on building another pillar, and then him doing his best to find his children by hopping from one dimension to another to catch up with kind of our main characters. And we eventually get to where we are now, where Rebecca has just killed another alternative version of Grant in front of another alternative version of his wife. But it's those pesky kids who once again cause more trouble. Poor Nate starts having a fit because he needs his insulin. Unfortunately, we have our techno-Indian coming to the rescue. But it's Pia running away who puts the team and the family once more in danger as she runs out into this new world, this new dimension, where it would appear being part of the McKay family is not a good thing to let people know about. And basically this is all just wrapped up in the gorgeous art of Matteo Scalera. He should not be this good, but he is. Rick Remender just writing another great title for Image. Fantastic sci-fi, and I'm lapping every single page up. So thank you for watching this week and getting to the end of the video. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. You won't miss out on another video. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave my channel. There's another video and it'll be my pick of the week. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know you like this video, and in the comment section down below, agree, disagree, tell me what books you've been buying this week and what you thought of them in the comment section down below. Until next week, I will bid you adieu. Bye bye.